Welcome to another night in the NBA. This is your 10-minute recap of the last night of NBA hoops. This was a night with 6 games of NBA action, the day after an NBA in-season tournament night, which was on Friday. So a little kind of laid-back night of NBA hoops, but there were some good games. And I want to start us off with the main topic, which is the Oklahoma City Thunder beating the Warriors in overtime, 130-123, thanks to their duo of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Chet Holmgren, because it sure looks like history is repeating itself in Oklahoma City. They have their new Kevin Durant in Chet Holmgren, and they have their new Russell Westbrook in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and they were both just excellent tonight. Let's start off with Shai, because Shai finishes with 40 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists to go with 2 steals and 2 blocks as well. He was doing everything. 18 of 29 from the field, and only shot 3 3-point attempts, because if you know Shai, he's not doing a ton of shooting from downtown, likes to attack in the mid-range and going downhill towards the rim. And in a big change from what we usually see from Shai, only 2 free throws this game. Usually he's kind of reliant on free throws, but a 40-point outing with only 2 free throws, very impressive for SGA, who continues to look like a top 10 player in the league today, and he was huge in this win for Oklahoma City. Might end up being a little better than Westbrook was in OKC at the peak, but that's going to be hard to do. Westbrook won an MVP, but when Westbrook was with Durant, I think Shai is already in that realm of player. And Chet Holmgren tonight, even though he's a rookie, he has been elite. 36 points, how many total rebounds? 10 rebounds. 36 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks as well. 14 of 22 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3, and hit the three-pointer that sent it to overtime. A huge catch, turnaround, fading 3 that sends this game to overtime where the Thunder would win it. And Chet Holmgren just looks very reminiscent of Kevin Durant. Both skinny 7-footers with a weirdly great perimeter game, can really attack from anywhere on the court, and just gifted offensive players. And when KD was in OKC, people forget he was much more of a shot blocker, and we've seen Chet be a great shot blocker early on in his rookie year. And I've loved what I've seen from these two guys. And then if you're looking for a Harden type, third type guy for history repeating itself, Jalen Williams, also very good in this game, J-Dub, with 22 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists on 50% shooting. They get 11 points from Josh Giddey, who only shoots 40% from the field, but also picks up 5 rebounds. And then they get 10 points from Isaiah Joe off the bench, and his plus 17 was the best of anyone for OKC in this game. And he plays tied for the 4th most minutes despite coming off the bench, tied for the 5th most because Cason Wallace actually played 28 minutes off the bench, just being a defensive stud. But Isaiah Joe has been huge for them, but the duo of Shai and Chet are huge in this win. I see memes all over the internet all the time comparing players to that Shaq and Kobe meme, and I've even said recently I think Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid is the closest thing you'd have to Shaq and Kobe in today's game, but Shai and Chet is a younger version and are emerging as really, really impressive. And the Thunder moved to 9-4 after this victory. They are really towards the top of the Western Conference in an impressive way. I think after the Mavs lost tonight, I think they both have 4 losses, so I think there's actually a chance that the Thunder are 3rd place in the West right now, because the Nuggets have 3 losses, so do the Timberwolves. So the Thunder, pretty good chance that they're 3rd in the West, and that's thanks to their elite duo of Shai and Chet Holmgren. But their starting 5 as a unit with Shai, Chet, J-Dub, Giddey, and Dort is one of the best lineups in the league. They've played a ton of minutes together already, and I really love the guys like Joe and Wallace coming off the bench, have both been really good, despite both of them being relatively young and somewhat unproven. For the Warriors, they get 31 from Andrew Wiggins in this game, who hit the 3 in regulation possession that a lot of people thought would be the game winner. Wasn't, because of that Chet turnaround three. But this is the best game of Wiggins' season, and I think it was the best game of any teammate of Steph Curry this season, because he actually outscores Steph Curry, which the Warriors have not been doing. I think it's only the second game that a Warrior outside of Steph has had more than 20 points this season. I think it is Wiggins, and Pajimski I think has more than 20 in a game as well. But Klay Thompson's struggles continue, 16 points on like sub 40% shooting, I believe, 5 of 13. And Steph was good but not great. 25 points, 8 of 21 from the field, but a very solid 5 of 11 from 3. Hit a really sweet kind of no-look shot where he turns around after shooting the 3 in SGA's face. Good shot. With no Draymond, they start Chris Paul tonight, and he was fine, 12 points and 11 assists. But the Thunder are legit. They are arguably contenders right now, and the duo of Chet and Shai looks ridiculously good. But now we've talked about that, so let's shoot around the NBA, look at the different outcomes, different games, and get an idea of what happened on this night of NBA basketball. So, in other action from around the NBA, we did have 5 other games on this night of hoops. And let's start off with what I would say was the best one outside of the one I just talked about, which would be Bucks versus Mavericks, a game that the Bucks take 132 to 125. The Mavs had a somewhat sizable lead in the fourth quarter, but the Bucks come back and take this one out of the hands of Dallas. And this was a great matchup. I'd say it was one of the better matchups we've had in the league this year. And the Bucks win the fourth quarter by 16 points to steal this victory. They get 40 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists from Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's been great over his past few games. They also get 27 from Damian Lillard, and the Mavs get 35 plus from both of their stars. They get 35 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists from Luka Doncic, as well as 39 points from Kyrie Irving. But despite that, they still go down to Milwaukee, who looks like they've really turned it around after kind of being questionable earlier in the season. But now they're 9-4, and the Bucks look great. Let's move then to Knicks versus Hornets, a game that the Knicks win 122 to 108, behind 32 points and 7 assists from Jalen Brunson, who looks more like the all-star level player we saw towards the end of last season. And LaMelo Ball finishes with 34 points and 9 assists despite the loss. He's been phenomenal lately, but just can't get enough help in these games to win them, because the Hornets are 3-9 now, not winning very many games at all, but LaMelo has been fantastic. Timberwolves beat the Pelicans 121 to 120 with a game winner from Karl Anthony Towns, who was really impressive in this game. 29 points, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds in the T-Wolves victory. When you're as good defensively as they are, you have a star offensive guy like Anthony Edwards, and then you have Towns as your number 2 offensive option. You're going to be a good team, and they have been so far. Moved to 9-3. I believe since they beat the Nuggets, this puts them in first place in the Western Conference. But yeah, they've been really good. The Pelicans also beating the Nuggets this season, had been on kind of a hot streak, but lose this one, a game that Zion sits out for rest, weirdly enough. The Bulls come back and beat the Heat 102 to 97. I believe the game started on a 20-1 run by Miami, and it looked like it was all but over for Chicago already, but the Bulls come all the way back and take this victory away from Miami to end their win streak at 7 games. Really split performances from the Bulls. Nobody even had 20 points for them. Maybe DeMar had 20. DeMar had 23, but 15, 14, 11, 13, and 23 are the numbers from their starters, and a very balanced attack from Chicago and getting a much-needed victory. But Levine still walked off the court and was seen looking frustrated, so I still wouldn't say things are great in Chicago. But the Heat get 24 points and 10 rebounds from Bam, but lose this one regardless. And then in the last game of the night that we haven't talked about yet, the Grizzlies come back and beat the Spurs 120-108. There was a point in the second half where they went on a 27-7 run to steal this win as well. It looked like it was an easy one for San Antonio, who kind of owned this one in the first half and even into the third quarter. But the Grizzlies outscore the Spurs 33-14 in the fourth to just rip this one out of the hands of San Antonio. Victor Wembanyama with 19 points, 13 rebounds, and 8 blocks. Wemby was great in this game, but they lose nonetheless. 26 from Desmond Bane, and the Grizzlies pick up their third win of the season. But now, as I always want to do, let's move into the last segment, which is the top 5 players of the night according to the Real Sports app. I always want to do this to kind of get a glimpse of who the real impressive performances came from on any given night of NBA basketball. And starting off at number 1 is Karl Anthony Towns, 29 points, 9 assists on 91% shooting, 10 of 11. Giannis Antetokounmpo at 2 with 40 points, 15 rebounds, and 69% from the field. Nice. Luka Doncic at 3 with 35 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists. SGA comes in at 4 with 40 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. And then Chet Holmgren rounding out the top 5 with 36 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. But that'll do it for this night in the NBA. Another night in the NBA. Thanks for watching. Think about subscribing. I'm on the road to 12,000 subscribers. So if you enjoy the daily recaps, think about sticking around. But that'll be it for me. I'm Herm. Have a good one.